ilikuwa ya machozi, ilikuwa ya kilio, ilikuwa ya watu wengine kuwekwa jela, ilikuwa ya kukosewa heshima, na ilibidi sisi kama taifa, sisi kama jamii tuangalie mtoto wetu, tumwambie mtoto wetu ondoka, enda kando, tumempata mwingine hapa ambaye wewe unaendelea kumnyanyasa. Na ni vizuri tuseme hapa, rais wetu aliye rais sasa, akiwa deputy president, alifanyiwa mambo ambao tunasema ni ya unyama. Alikosewa heshima, akanyimwa magari, akanyimwa mambo mengi. Na sisi tukaona kama Wakikuyu, kama mlima, tukasema huyu ndiye alisimama na mtoto wetu, na imefika wakati wake tumemfanyia madharau na mambo haya na kumdhihaki. Sisi kama jamii tukasema tumekataa na tunamchagua. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Nikuwa kana tiguo tulifanya hivyo. Basi nikisimama hapa katika kanisa, we will not allow our son to go through that at all. Kama mbaya, kama mbaya, kama mbaya, but he will not be taken through that. Hatutaruhusu. He will not be taken through that. Hakupewa kiti na mtu, aling'ang'ania. Na hicho kiti, kura tulizozipiga ndizo zilimpa deputy president. And he is not a deputy president by default. Ni mpango wetu na yeye ndiye ameshikilia mlima. So, ningetaka nitangaze nikiwa hapa kwa kanisa, madharau yoyote kwa Rigathi Gachagua ni madharau ya mlima. Kweli uongo? Kudhihakiwa ni mlima unadhihakiwa. Kweli uongo? As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
All right, the more things change, the more they stay the same. This is what has been aptly captured by Ozone. And of course, Mount Kenya erupts. Where is King Solomon? That is what we can hear, the sentiments of Mutai there, the governor of Nyeri, just laid bare for us this morning. We could continue pace with the conversation on the Mount Kenya politics, and as we also draw to a conclusion of it, and also look keenly also on the finance bill.
Before we break, Senator came with very strong ones attacking the Kenya Kwanza government. But it's important to mention that before taking government, and what has happened for the last 1.5 years is that Kenya has become one of the fastest growing economy in the world at position 29. That's a great thing which we should appreciate, that the effort which has been made by this administration. Also, Kenya has remained number one in Africa in terms of investment momentum. The investment which we are, the quantum of investment which we are seeing coming in our economy is huge than any other country in Africa. Also, in terms of the startups, Kenya has remained to be number one in terms of the amount of money invested in or funding in startups. We cannot be achieving this if the economy is not well managed by, especially the president and his government. Also, it is important to mention, in terms of human capital, Kenya is number one in Africa. We expect to see, if this economy is extremely managed in a very, very bad way, as Senator want to put it, then these numbers will not be able to be talking about them. In terms of ease of doing business, is also ranked highly in Africa. So, and of course, you know, Nairobi City was ranked as number one as a place to visit in the world by one of the leading travel agents in America, known as the Lonely Planet, a great travel agent, saying if you have a place to visit, is Nairobi. If the economy, if this country, Dubai, is not well managed, as my brother here wants to insinuate, then why are we getting such kind of figures? We will not be getting such kind of figures. Let's talk about the profit which companies are making in this country. All the banks, including even Kenya Airways, for the first time in the last 10 years, Kenya Airways has made 10 billion, the highest in the last 10 years. Don't talk about Safaricom because we know it has made a serious huge amount of money, 140 billion Kenyan shilling. NCBA 21.4 billion Kenyan shilling. Equity Bank has made 55 billion Kenyan shilling. So, and by the way, KRA has cancelled 300 billion in penalties and interest to businesses and taxpayers, 1 million of them. So the economy is well managed. We have managed, the president as government have managed to steer this economy into the trajectory of recovery. And we need to build on that momentum. So when Senator is saying that all is not well, I think he's reading from a totally different script, and
but we need to we need to plumb deep and ask also. You're probing questions before you answer that. When you mention all these indices that you've given here from the banks, from Kenya Airways, having now made profits that is historic in the last 10 years after a streak of losses, why aren't you mentioning also the 1 billion shillings that was injected by the government? Right, to try and stabilize KQ.
We have seen also...
Is that also being reported in that particular course?
We have seen also in the previous years...
No, just a moment. We'll also be giving a true picture of Kenya Airways devoid of that particular 1 billion shillings to bail out KQ. That's one question. The other question is, you mentioned all these banks, NCBA, Equity, and the rest of the banks making supernormal profits. From whom does the government borrow from?
We have
and
seen,
how are they making these profits?
Those are very good questions.
So is that a fair judgment on how also the country, some of these good performing companies are doing?
Those are very good questions.
Yeah, when we talk about, yes.
We have seen government bailing out Kenya Airways in the past, and still Kenya Airways continue making losses. We have seen government bailing out not only Kenya Airways but also many other companies like sugar companies from Western Kenya, and they have continued making losses. So why is it that for the first time government is bailing Kenya Airways and we are seeing profits? Who can answer that question?
Can I?
But number two, you are talking about Kenya banks doing business with government. It's true, the banks have always been doing business with government. But the thing is, we have seen the interest rate coming down. The interest rate of treasury bonds and treasury bills coming down. Remember, even when Kenya government borrows in Kenyan shilling to our ROCO banks. But look at the borrowing which has happened for the last the past administration, because these are still loans which we are paying even now. It doesn't mean that for the past we are only paying loans which may be generating income. This kind of profit to banks. The loans of the last one financial year, there are loans even in the previous administration which they are not yet repaid even now. So the thing is, the business environment which has been created by the policies which this government has come up with is favorable for ease of doing business, is favorable for economic growth and economic development, is favorable for financial deepening of our stock exchange. We have seen the rebound of stock exchange. It's one of the best performing stock exchange now, currently in Africa. Why is that happen during Kenya Kwanza administration? We have seen Kenya shilling versus US dollars, USD. Kenya shilling coming, at the moment we are talking about 128, 129 today. When this administration was coming in, it was around 160 against dollar. I mean, to bring it from 160 to 129 is great effort, and that translates into huge in terms of our external debt, which we borrow in US dollars. So I think it is important to appreciate and give credit where it's due, that the president and his government, they have tried to bring this economy in the right trajectory, and we can see the results are there. And we are expecting this to continue by the end of the second year in office. By the time we are going to the end year in office, things will be extremely different as far as the economic performance of our country is concerned. I know, Senator, was talking about the fuel, how the fuel was high. Was very happy when he was talking about the Kenyan shilling against dollar is very high. He was very, very happy when he was talking about the prices of unga at 260 Kenyan shilling. Today he can't even say the price of unga is 100 shilling. You know, he was extremely happy when all these problem we were facing when this government was trying to resolve all those things. In terms of creation of jobs, at the moment we have about close to 100,000 youths who are busy working in the housing program, and that is a fact. That's a fact. He's not mentioning those. He's not mentioning that. So the programs which are tailored by this government are well intended to create jobs, to revive the economy, to put Kenya into the world map, and that is why, because of that recognition, that's why the president today is on his way to United States for a state visit, which this Kenya received or was accorded that kind of honor when Kibaki was the president several years ago. So I think it is important to call a spade a spade. It is important to give credit where it is due. We have seen a government which is dedicated in shaping the economy, putting the people at the center, and listening to the people.
You know, I think it's Honorable Mokali.
Yes, my turn.
Then we'll come back to
Then
you.
you can come to you. You know, Dibala, I've said it many times that statistics are good. But even as you throw them around, you must get the right interpretation. I know Honorable Ruku has a brief to defend the government, which is good. And that you can't run away from that. But it's also good to be objective. When you talk about the dollar coming down, fuel prices coming down, KQ doing well, I don't think he's telling Kenyans the truth. The truth of the matter is that coming down of the dollar and the fuel is more of a contributor, an external factor contributing to that than an internal factor. And we've said that many times.
It's the market forces.
And more of external factors. External market forces, not internal. The Kenya Kwanza government has not done anything as a government in terms of fundamentals to bring the dollar from 160 to 129. That was as a result of, and the same as, because the reason why the fuel prices came down was basically because the dollar also came down, and our importation is in dollars. So when the dollar depreciates, because our shilling appreciated, automatically then that gain must be reflected in the prices of fuel and a lot of other prices outside there. And the other day I did mention here, as a result of that change, the bow, our public debt stock came down by a whole trillion Kenya shillings. Yes. A whole trillion. So you can't say everything was done to bring that public debt stock from 11 to 10 point something. The government did anything. It's just because of the change of the dollar.
No, you're not right.
So,
you're not right.
I'm telling you that
there is the power of prayer, right?
Maybe the prayer. Maybe the prayer. That's what I agree with the prayer. But we're just saying, as an economist, when I sit and look at the fundamentals, let's discuss KQ. KQ, what is happening? What they are saying is, if they were to isolate the past debts and look at now the current operating environment, they'll be making profits. But once you factor in the history of KQ, they're not making any profit. That's why they have not declared any dividends to their shareholders. So these are the issues that even as you push this statistic to us, can we get the right interpretation of the statistics? And we have said it. We are not saying that this government has not achieved anything. They have achieved, and I think we have listed them. The issue of the fertilizer last year, we mentioned it. This year, they have now changed, and they are now stealing from Kenyans by giving Kenyans, instead of fertilizer, they're giving us what now? We have given all kind of names.
Rocks from Dubai.
Some are saying rocks, some are saying I don't know what. Look at the issue. So there are lots of gains they got last year, but now they're actually now kicking away the gains. And that's why you see Kenyans all over the place are saying, we don't think we are heading in the right direction. How they wish that things changed. And that's why, even though we agree with our colleagues that they have to defend the government, But can we then use statistics well, so that when Ruku pushes these statistics out there to the Kenyans, so that Kenyans don't get a picture of that things are doing well, when in reality, we are not doing well. But you remember the story of the tortoise, which we were just mentioning earlier during our break, where we were saying, if you see a tortoise on top of a tree, you always claim someone has placed it there. So there's no harm taking credit for what is happening, because it has happened. The truth of the matter is that in government, when things seem to be working well, they need to take credit for it. But then when they are working bad, then let them also accept that things are not working good. So that in that case, then they are able to get credit and at the same time, accept that things are not working well. Like now, a few things are not working well, and they need to say this, like taxation is a big issue now in this country. You can see we are discussing, all of us. I hope when you get to the parliament, that soberness will be in that house to a level that nobody will vote on the basis of coalition, which coalition you belong to. As members of parliament, we will be voting on the basis of, does this benefit the people I represent? If you go that way, I can tell you for sure, this thing will be dead on arrival. I submit.
All right. Okay.
Dibal, I wanted to mention to my brothers, Honorable Ruku and Honorable Sige, we are actually very good friends. Gentlemen, today I'm going to tell you how successful you have been running your government. I support your government on those successes. But you increased our taxes by $1 trillion shillings. As I sit here and I'm in the Senate, if you tell me today we calculate where the $1 trillion shillings which came in, which means we are actually collecting revenue close to 4 trillion. And I just say, let us look at about 50 projects or 20 or 10 that the government has done. So far, I can't see. All right? The truth is the government has revenue, and yet the issues that we are struggling with are the issues that I want my brothers to look at. Yes, Honorable Ruku, I will tell you the truth. Sincerely speaking, there are certain things you guys have done very well. Look at agriculture. The president came with a brilliant idea. I live in Trans Nzoia. This man lives in. The government actually supplied the fertilizer. Even when some of you, our leaders in KK, were getting more bags than us in the opposition, at least there was a little bit of fairness. The fertilizer arrived. How many bags of maize did we increase? From 24 million to 40 what?
But there's nowhere leaders were getting bags.
Okay, assume I'm lying about that.
Yes.
The next thing you find is this maize which was increased. As we speak today, if you asked me whether National Cereals and Produce Board is paying farmers for the maize which either they are delivering or maize which they are selling to NCPPB, I don't know, and I'm a farmer. Number two, you come to the issue of this year, the same fantastic project which the government, your government has done, and the president actually takes credit for it, and I give him 100% credit. Then you people start selling soil to us. Then we now discover that your friends who are sharing this money, they are taking this fertilizer, they are taking it from who? A few guys who are sharing it. These are the issues, Honorable Ruku. You look at our schools. Yes, the KK government has come in, you've pushed. CBC, you've launched it well, but we have a problem with our secondary school, with junior secondary school teachers. We are not able to solve this problem. We are having a problem. Capitation money, honorable my colleagues, is not arriving in those schools. The teachers are actually complaining. They're depressed. Most of them are really annoyed. And yes, thank you for allowing the doctors to go back to work, by allowing to give them something small. You see, I give you credit where I must give you. That is a very good idea. But you see, you have got clinical officers and the nurses, they are coming next. Make sure you deal with them because they know you have the money.
We definitely will.
They know you have the money. Then you brought in the issue of KRA. Yes, KRA has been collecting. Why are you increasing taxes when KRA is telling you they can't reach the targets? Honorable Makali is a serious economist. He's worked in Treasury over the years. Honorable Makali, you tax Kenyans to what point? it is going to have a law of diminishing returns.
We have told them many times.
You are not going to raise any more revenue beyond the 4 trillion. Let's build with the 4 trillion, give it 2-3 years and see how they go. Yes, you are talking about the economy is growing exponentially and everybody is praising us. We are number 27. I give you that credit. The data comes up and says that. But you see, there's something you guys did not give me. Our rating by Transparency International on corruption. We are the most corrupt country in Africa after Chad and Mali. Those are the realities that I see. Those are my facts. That's the data that I'm having. The president has done extremely well on Kenyan diplomacy. Yes, I am happy with him. He is actually re-engaging with Museveni on how we are going to withdraw our troops from Somalia. I think Somalia has stabilized. We need to withdraw, yes. The president is traveling everything. What I've been waiting to see, Dibal, that I've not seen, and the president has given Kenya globally a very good face. But you see, when you look at what he has brought back home, Honorable Makali, what has the president, all those things he talked about, there were companies from America coming to invest, I don't know, $400 billion. I'm waiting for that money. The data is what I want to wait in the next 1 year. So yes, the president is traveling a lot. And he's moving like a young man. I'm so impressed. He's traveling Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi. I'm so happy. But I'm waiting to see the dividends of his traveling. Dibal, you talk about the sugar business. All the sugar factories have not been resuscitated. Most of them are still dysfunctional. The government gave them money last time. We didn't see what happened. The government said you are going to bring private investors to come and invest in these sugar factories for production to increase.
Dibal, I have a lot of problem with what Senator is saying, because we have a mentality in this country, and more so, even with us leaders, that our work is to pinpoint where the problem is, and we go back and enjoy ourselves without doing anything, without even offering solution. All of us here, we have a platform. We have a platform, all of us, a very premium platform. Senate, and is a man who has served for many years in the National Assembly. And even as a minister, he is a senior member of this nation. And of course, we thank him for the service he has served this nation. But right now, I'm
not in government.
Yes,
so,
but we need to see.
Let me criticize your government so that then you answer me by, don't stop me. Allow me to tell you where things are
wrong. You're talking about junior secondary schools.
Let me finish. I've finished. My 2 points are remaining. I'm finishing. Then I give you space. I gave you the space, Dibal. You know my brother. Sure, okay. Protect me.
Oh yeah, let me protect you. Let him finish. Let me give you a sporting chance. Sige also has been fairly quiet.
Thank you very much. The price of fuel, thank you, has come down. But go and look at the facts. When the dollar was at the rate it is, when Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was president, and where the dollar is now, our fuel should be cheaper than what it is right now. But your government has tried better than when Uhuru left. So I give you that credit. The other issue I want to talk about, Honorable Ruku, Nairobi City County, is in fact one of the issues that we have Mheshimiwa Gachagua fighting with Sakaja. People are fighting about the resources of Nairobi City County. We expected that you people with Honorable Sakaja would have taken Nairobi City County, cleaned it up a little, support this. When you have this flooding, you will see the people moving around. You see, but you see, you guys, it's like you're waiting somebody to come from heaven to come and fix this county, the county government, which is controlled by you, guys of KK Alliance. Finally, Dibal, I want to say this. My conscience is very clear. I have nothing personal against the leadership of President Ruto or even Gachagua. What my conscience asks me to do is that I must demand for this government, which is my government, to perform better, to reduce the incidences of corruption, to make sure that when you are giving me an image that you want me as a Kenyan to respect the government and love this government because it's my government, what we are saying is, even when you are employing people, please share with us. What we are saying, when resources are coming, let not just members of parliament be given money for roads, and then after that you have some other areas, nothing can be done. That is what we are asking for. My last comment, Dibal, is this. The KK government has the responsibility of making sure, and I've said this before, Honorable Sige, I said if President William Ruto can't fix Kenya, then I don't know who can fix it. because he has the experience. He has been in 4 governments before. He has been part of Uhuru government. He has been part of the coalition government of Kibaki. He has been part of the Moi regime. And now he's actually running his own presidency. He knows the issues of Kenya, historical injustices. He knows the land question in Kenya. He knows what corruption can do to Kenya. He knows what it is when you don't go for meritocracy. He knows how you destroy a country when you believe in your tribal engagements and tribal cocoons, whereby the nationalistic view of the country is usually put at the back burner, and individual and personal and political and party arrangements are done, and that is why our country cannot move. So yes, the government is not doing badly. You guys are doing okay, but you have a lot of work to do. In the next 2 years, if you don't fix it, we will remove you from office.
All right, thank you.
Can I just
you have already joined it, then we take the topic away
this
from...
one that, yes, because I also want us to go to another conversation. It is true, and I like it, as I had earlier on said, that it's very easy to criticize. The way he's just come out, I would be very happy, which is what he's attempted to do, and I'm happy, Senator Onyonka, that you've gone that direction. You are now becoming a very objective opposition leader, leading to criticize the government. When I am told that you have done well here and there is room for improvement, that is now what leadership is all about. He's given us statistics. One of the things that, of course, we've done as of now, which my brother is aware because we did this last week in Senate, in terms of fighting corruption, one of the things that the honorable members of parliament did when we had this impeachment motion against Honorable Inchuru was to show that they also have a position to take as leaders independent of any influence. That's why we got the numbers of 146 voting for that impeachment. And in the Senate, one of the things that we did, which I know Senator Onyonka is aware about, is the debate and the passage of the conflict of interest bill, which will actually enhance the fight against corruption. And a good number of us, by the way, Dibal, have this very objective mindset in terms of how do we change the way we lead in this country? How do we change the way we also enhance, you know, the positive obligation that every Kenyan, from the lowest ranking to the highest ranking, in terms of taking this country to the next level. And when Onyonka says that if President William Ruto does not change this country, there is none, it is a statement that I would want to qualify by saying he has every goodwill to change this country. And that is why every other day he is pushing for something that will support that person in the grassroots and the same person in his highest office in the land. It is something that cannot happen over and overnight. It's not something that we say, we are doing this today, we will make it happen tomorrow. It is a process. And it is something that we should also ask ourselves as leaders, what else can we still do so that even as we criticize this government, we are giving them the options to participate on issues, subjects, commitments that will change the way we see Kenya, that will change the life of Kenyans, that will improve leadership. So that tomorrow we are saying we were here today. What would we have done best to sustain the very good program on subsidized fertilizer? How else can we encourage our brothers who are employed by the government, whether they are teachers, whether they are doctors, whether they are interns, or those in the public service, to make sure that even though they would be seeking to fight for their rights as employees, which is actually provided for in the Constitution, they are considerate of the situation of the country, the economic situation. The way the president would say, look, let us not commit just for the sake of committing. Let us live within our means. Let us accept the status as is right now. You get paid this much today. Tomorrow the economy will have improved and you will earn more. You will earn that which is your entitlement, and we all progress. That is why we are saying this finance bill, though we are seeking to enhance the tax bracket, are we going to hurt as many Kenyans as possible, or are we going to enhance the tax bracket and get more money to invest in the economy? Let us have that conversation at across board level, where it is not only criticizing, it is giving options and it's giving available opportunities to improve. That way, we will improve this Kenya, we will move Kenya to the level that we are looking forward to in the next generation?
Depart, we have many leaders, many senior government officials who are not giving Kenyans their best in terms of formulating policies, whether it's taxation policies or taxation proposal, like the one we have at the moment, or even formulating laws which can guide this country in the best way possible. I want to give you an example. Immediately after introduction of, we came to the 13th Parliament, the issue of junior secondary school came up. I moved a motion which we discussed about the junior secondary school. There were so many primary schools across the nation which were not included to have a junior secondary school. And remember, parents across the country have invested in these schools. CDF money has been used in this school. So you find that our proposal for young kids to walk, to trek several kilometers to the next or the neighboring primary school for the junior secondary school. So we moved a motion, I moved a motion, we discussed, we came up with a resolution. And today, every school in Kenya has a junior secondary school as a result of the effort which I made in Parliament. What I'm trying to say is that we have a responsibility as members of Parliament, whether in the Senate or in the National Assembly, to formulate laws which can expand the tax base of our nation without hurting Kenyans, without hurting middle class, without hurting entrepreneurs, but we expand the base. Because for sure, we have a budget which my brother here, Dr. Makari, the committee proposed and it was approved of 3.9 trillion Kenyan shilling. The revenues expected to be raised is 3.354 trillion. But through the ordinary budget of 2.9 trillion and the ANA from different government institutions will be about 441 billion Kenyan shilling. So we are talking about a deficit of about 703 billion Kenyan shilling, and that represents about 3.9% of our GDP. So we have to come up with ways of financing this budget. We need to raise 3.9 trillion either through the taxation which has been taxes which have been proposed, and some of those taxes proposed are not very well tailored. Now, who is this not tailoring our proposal properly? These are people working with the National Treasury. They tailor tax policy which is not properly well guided, because probably some people don't want to work hard, they don't want to be more innovative, they don't want to think outside the box or without a box, and they expect me and Makari and any other person, and especially those who are in Kenya Kwanza, to defend those proposals because they are they are brought forward by the government. Remember, if there is a Kenyan who is working extremely hard to ensure these things are done right to, is the president. But also the president has 24 hours. He has to rest. We need those 24 hours. He is handling so many things. So it is possible for some of the proposals to come forward to Parliament, and they are not well thought. So we have to reprimand those in high offices, in Treasury, bringing up. I sit in the Committee of Delegation Registration. There's a day, Treasury Commissioner of KRA came to our committee to do a presentation on exercise duty. They wanted to levy on leather and on water. And we asked them, guys, this has been the same mode of taxation for years. How much money do you want to, if you increase this 0 point something or 1 something percent on the export of leather, how much do you intend to raise as KRA? It was minimal. You want to increase some excise duty on water. How much do you expect to raise on that? So you find some people who are not willing to think, more. I don't want to use the word lazy. You find some people are lazy. They don't want to be more innovative. They don't want to think and crack their mind properly. And and deserve for the pay they are given or they are paid every month by. These are people getting a lot of money every single month with a lot of privileges, So we are saying, all of us, those who have been in National Assembly and the Senate, as well as senior in government officials, they are letting Kenyans down.
Right.
I want you to give you an example. I have come up with the Virtue Asset Bill. Virtue Asset Bill, because it's huge amount of money which is traded. Kenya is the leading nation in virtual assets in Africa. We are trading virtually about $20 billion a year, and this trade is going up every single year. How much money are we getting as government out of the trade, which is done virtually in cryptocurrency and other virtual assets? Zero Kenyan shilling. So how come that we don't have such a regulation which can enable our government get more money, expand our tax base, instead of taxing Brent, adding 16%? Can we move with speed and get into this space and raise even more money? That money which cannot be raised by taxing bread. So, we are failing Kenyans, those who are in position of leadership. Myself, Sigei, Senator Onyanga here, and Dr. Makari, failing Kenyans in a serious way, because it doesn't mean because he's from opposition, he can't bring in a bill to change law, a law which may expand the tax base without hurting any business, without hurting any Kenyans.
Thank you.
We need to be serious. We need to work hard.
More, yes.
We need to be more innovative. We need to be more focused as Kenya. And those guys in Treasury who are bringing very archaic proposals, which they expect us as members of Kenya Kwanza Coalition to defend. We want to tell them, some of them we will not defend.
Fantastic. But I know those are also the carbon trading tax as well.
Some of the things Ruku is saying cannot go just that way, because you need to put the record straight. The thing is, in any government setup, we have the technical people. Like now, you go to Treasury, you find the economists and all those other people who are very actually serious experts. But whatever they do cannot come to Parliament before it is approved by Cabinet. Which means, at the end of the day, you are a technical person, you prepared your cabinet paper, which will go to the cabinet, and it is the cabinet to determine what goes to Parliament. So a number of these things, for them to remain in their cabinet proposals, will depend on the cabinet approving these things. So in a situation where, as a technical person, I've gone and I've said, this makes sense, it doesn't make sense, and then the cabinet, what I'm saying doesn't make sense, sees sense in it, my hands are tied. I'm just a PS or I'm an economist. Look at the GSS, the junior secondary school.
GSS.
How many times have the experts said this thing does not make sense in terms of implementation? How many times? Look at anybody who talks about GSS. You go to your school, you find a school is being managed by an Idan. It has 2 teachers, a secondary school, and you have been in a secondary school. 2 teachers cannot manage a secondary school. And we say something needs to be done. Up to a time where now, as we are talking, the Indians all over the country have gone actually in the streets. Say we won't go back to class unless we are employed permanent and pensionable. And it makes sense. They have been on a contract basis for the last 1 year plus. Imagine putting somebody, an Indian, on contract basis for a year plus, and the earning take-home is, I think, 13,000 shillings.
17,000.
You see, 17. To me, these are things. This has just been criminal. These are criminal acts on a serious note. And that's why we are saying, even as we blame the technical people in the ministries, can we also then blame the policymakers? Because somebody must approve this policy on, let's establish JSS and have interns in this. That must have been at the cabinet level, not at the director of education level. So we are saying it's a combination of gaps arising at the technical and also at the cabinet level. And that's what we are saying. We would do better as a country if we listened more to the technical voice. That when the technicians talk, we listen to them. Because they have experience, they have gone to school to do these things. They are not talking out of just blue. They are talking out of the blues. They are talking out of knowledge, a knowledge position, what we call evidence-informed policy making. That will help this country.
But we have technical people also who are not willing to think out of the box. we have seen technical people coming to do presentation in our committee as far as taxation and levies are concerned. And some of them don't make any sense. And we even chase them away. We tell them, please go back and think.
Thank you.
And these are technical,
Right.
very highly qualified people, very highly trained.
Let's
it's
pick up
only
on
that
those-
they don't want to think and go out of their way
Thank you,
to
thank
serve
you.
this nation.
Right, because of time as well, sir, I want us just to highlight, because I think time is really running down on us, so that we just get a feel of what is happening currently. And maybe you can begin with Honorable Sigwe, because you've been part of the Nadco team and Nadco report that has been halted by, of course, the courts as it is. What is the current state of Nadco? Because I saw there were court issues around it, and there are issues also implementations that Azimio is crying foul. Just very briefly, tell us what is happening with it.
Thank you, Dibal. What I would say briefly is that after the Nadco committee was presented before the two principals, that is the head of government, President William Ruto, as well as the head of Azimio Group, that is the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, they approved of the proposals and the recommendations that the Nadco committee had made. And what immediately happened thereafter to fast-track the implementation process was a formation of a joint committee, which is a committee comprising JLAC members of the National Assembly, chaired by Honorable Murugara, and JLAC members of the Senate, which I chair. We have had sessions, we have had meetings, which we have picked on the issues which are actually to be dealt with. Among them are establishment of, tabling of bills. We've got 8 bills which became a product of the Nadco engagement. 4 are to be sponsored from the National Assembly, 4 are to be sponsored from the Senate. 2 of them actually have gone through. One, the IEBC has already been passed. The IEBC amendment bill has already been passed by the National Assembly. It was read for the first time last week in the Senate. We will be dealing with it this week. Before we go on recess, we will have submitted the JLAC report, which is going to involve public participation on the proposals made by the committee and the recommendations on the bill or the amendment that was made by the committee of JLAC in the National Assembly. At the Senate, we've equally also tabled the bill. Other than the 4 which are there, we've tabled 1, which is also in the committee of the whole as it now. It was on Thursday, on the committee of the whole. So as regards the Nadco implementation, we are in very positive trajectory, and I believe the ones which were urgent, we have dealt with. The aspect that is still a subject of engagement is whether or not to do one bill that will comprise all the proposed amendments to the Constitution.
Thank you.
Or to do piecemeal constitutional amendment bills. Some of them have been done, some of them are yet to, but we are yet to come with a conclusive bill and position, whether it is one bill or several bills that we will check towards implementation of the Constitution in honor of the comments which the Nadco made in their report.
Right, thank you. Honorable Nyonka, on the Haiti, of course, issue, we have 200 who now will be leaving the country for Haiti, but also we've seen Dr. Ekuro moving to court again to try and scupper the whole process. I think also is a very big issue with the visitation of the president in the US. That also will be primarily on the table at the end of the day. So what is your take, briefly?
First of all, I'll tell you a small thing. What Honorable Sige has talked about. How I wish that the political class can just look at ourselves in the face and agree that what makes sense to both of us, let's implement.
From the Nadco report,
yes. What we disagree about, let us take time and engage. Let's make amendments so that, you know, Dibal, I've never forgotten one thing. All these years I've been in Parliament. We had a chance, Honorable Sige, when we had Marende as the speaker. And you know, that time, we were actually preparing nicely to want form the coalition government. And at the National Assembly, we were told, we said, you guys, listen, you are going to have committees that are going to be doing oversight at the National Assembly. Please, let us agree that our standing orders, we say the opposition will be the ones which is handling the major committees that are handling oversight. That is CPAC, CPIC, and all that. You know what we did? We said, no, we are going to take power. Why would we be submissive to some idiots who are going to come and tell us that they can oversight us? Put it there. Guess what it has done? That is how we find ourselves, that the ruling party actually becomes chair of oversight committees, which in other jurisdiction doesn't happen. So I'm really praying that we change the law.
But in the Senate, it's not the case. The chairperson of CPAC is Senator Kajwang.
That
the
is
chairperson
true.
of CPIC is
Ososi. Those two are the only ones.
Yes.
But I don't want to discuss the legalities.
Okay.
The second one I wanted to come to is this.
No,
I agree with you. The Haiti scenario is very simple.
Can we pick it up next week? Because of interest of time as well,
Okay.
just to get your headline thoughts, 30 seconds.
Okay.
Right? Let's pick it up next week. 30 seconds, sir.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not all lost, Dibao, but on the Nadco, I think the issue of the IBC, we need to fast track that one. That to me is
It's good to hear that it's good traction.
Agreed text. We will not change anything as a Senate.
Because that is
Thank
a
you.
product of joint committees.
Thank you. All right, Honorable Ruko, you didn't tell us what Muthegi means. I wanted to know about Muthegi. We've not talked about the Haki Coalition as well, maybe for next week, but your closing remarks?
To Kenyans, we are going to stand with Kenyans as far as all the issues are concerned, whether it is taxes and finance bill. I know sometimes we say ones which don't go very well with Kenyans, but we will stand with Kenyans when we are discussing some of these things. About the IBC, we need to fast track that for sure. We have constituencies in Kenya which don't have representation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mandela and many other wards.
We need to go. Right.
Thank you.
Honorable Sige, your closing remarks?
As we close, we're saying we will, where necessary, fast track on the election IEBC amendment bill because we need the IEBC. This, since it's an agreed text from the Nadco committee and the joint committees of National Assembly and the Senate, we definitely, by the time we take recess, we'll probably have that done and dusted. For the rest of those ones,
Thank you.
we will take the position the Kenyans agreed. And as regards the finance bill, I want to encourage Kenyans to participate keenly and give their views so that when we get down to debating the parliament, we are debating on the basis of the information we've got from Kenya.
90. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Always a treat having you here on Monday. I really appreciate your sentiments on a raft of issues as well that we've discussed. Remember, the finance bill is still out for your participation, so make sure you have an input. If you have any queries, questions that you need to fire, make sure you are in attendance, whatever the committee will be appearing in your county. Thank you very much for your valued company. You've been watching Standpoint. Don't go away. News Diary is coming up next.